This part of the Uber continuing case focuses on Chapter 16 and covers principles related to the control function of management. Control is defined as monitoring performance, comparing it with goals, and taking corrective action as needed. Control is needed to adapt to change and uncertainty, discover irregularities and errors, reduce costs, increase productivity or add value, detect opportunities and increase innovation, to provide performance feedback, and decentralize decision making and facilitate teamwork. There are 4 steps in the control process. They are 1. Establish standards, 2. Measure performance, 3. Compare performance to standards, and 4. Take corrective action if necessary. Established standards ask, what is the outcome we want? A control standard is the desired performance level for a given goal. A control standard can be broad or narrow and are best measured when it's quantifiable. Decreasing widget rejects to 10% is quantifiable. Measure performance asks, what is the actual outcome we got? This is the measure of performance. In our example, we would determine the number of rejects. Compare performance standards ask, how do the desired and actual outcomes differ? This is where we compared the measured performance against the standards established. In our example, we found that the typical widget reject rate was 20% per run. So, if we measure and find that the reject rate for the first run after the new established standard is 10%, then the standard was met. If it was 14%, then the standard was not met. Take corrective action as necessary and ask, what changes should we make to obtain desirable outcomes? In our example, if we reach the standard 10% reject rate, we would not take action. We would continue with the success. If we didn't reach the standard, we would determine what changes would be needed to reduce the reject rate to 10% and implement those changes and see if the standard will be met in the future. There are 3 types of control: feed-forward, concurrent, and feedback. Feed-forward controls focus on preventing future problems. Concurrent control entails collecting performance information in real time, and feedback control collects performance information after a task or project is done. Using our example of reducing rejects by 10%, there would be a specific plan in place to reduce the reject rate. These may be a process change, material change, machinery change, or other change. The plan for improvement would be spelled out for all involved to follow. This is a feed-forward control. Measurements would be taken as the widgets are being produced. If it is determined that the reject rate is going to be out of the established standard, then corrections could be made during the product run. For instance, someone may realize that one of the feed-forward controls was not working and it suggests a change. This is a concurrent control. Lastly, the run would be completed and a final determination would be made on the reject rate. If it was successful, 10% reject rate, then the standard would be successful and no changes made. If the standard was not met, then the feedback controls would result in reviewing the feed-forward controls and making additional changes that will meet the standard. Once the standard has been reached, then a new standard will be set, perhaps a 5% reject rate. Regardless, the control process will begin again.